Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are back with a brand new review of The Chi, Season 4, Episode 7. Thank you guys for waiting so patiently, child. I was not feeling my best yesterday. My tonsils said, not today. There will be no reviews today, but I'm feeling a lot better. Child, I'm able to get into it as we get into it, so let's get into it. When the episode first opens up, we see who shot Douda. Now, I'm happy they didn't have us wait for umpteen episodes to get to the actual shooter. They went ahead and gave us what needed to be gave. So we see who shot him, and of all people, it was Brandon and Angie's mama. I was not expecting that. Baby, let me tell y'all something. This episode had cameos, twists, turns, and child plot twists. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay. So we see her standing there and she was basically vindicating herself. And I was just thinking, I know you didn't think this one shot was going to off him. But okay, girl. So she said, look, you ruined my life. Now I'm taking yours. So then she walks off. Okay, like the stone cold killer that she assumes she is, right? So Rosalind shows up in hysterics as any wife would. Roz, we thought it was you, girl. Honey, I'm sorry, but we definitely thought it was you, okay? Every man wants a woman. We just knew you was about to do it, but you didn't do it, so we apologize. So we see the medics trying to stabilize him, and it appears that he's flatlining, right? So over at the school, we see Jake and Gemma. Sure. And, you know, they're in class, and so Kevin throws a pencil at Jake, trying to get his attention. Okay, but that's just me, child. I wouldn't want to be bothered with them ever. I wouldn't even be sitting that close to them. Do you hear me? So Jake ignores him like a buster, okay? And so Kevin got up and he was about that action, okay? And it was on and popping. So they started fighting and I was like, whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. Honey, I was all into it, honey. I was all into it, okay? I don't condone fighting in school, but Jake earned that butt whooping, okay? He earned it. Okay, and Gemma, you better be glad Keisha ain't about that life right now, because you might have got them hands put on you as well. In the middle of the fight, Kevin accidentally elbows a teacher, a white teacher at that. I'm talking about, baby, he sent them nostrils in reverse. Do y'all hear me? I said, oh, Kevin, child, you definitely getting suspended. So they just look at him, everybody in the classroom, just looking at him like this was the worst thing that they've ever seen. And I'm just like, y'all ain't never seen a fight before? Honey, Jake standing there holding his face. No, Jake, I thought you were a tough guy. Child, they wouldn't have lasted one day at my high school, honey. There was a fight every 5 minutes. You had to leave one fight to go to the next fight because you didn't want to miss that fight. And then if you go to the other fight, then you got to make sure you're downstairs to see that fight. Child, it was a fight every 5 seconds. So they wouldn't have lasted a second in my high school. Okay, I'm just saying. At Smokey's, Papa and Maisha getting a little screen time. Hey, y'all, because we missed y'all the past few episodes. Papa is telling her that he wants to quit his podcast, right? Because he feels like nobody's listening. I understand about getting discouraged, but, you know, you just got to keep pushing. Even if you get one view and one comment, you got to keep pushing, okay? So Maisha was like, I told you it wouldn't blow up overnight. So then he says, you think I can get Chance? One thing about Papa, he gonna dream big if he don't do nothing else. Not Chance the Rapper. So, I mean, okay. I mean, he is from the Chi. Papa gonna go big or go home if he don't do nothing else. I'm just saying. She was like, I guess maybe, you know, he love the kids. But don't get disappointed if he don't do it. And when I was watching this scene, I was thinking, Maisha act like she a little bit annoyed with Papa. Maybe it's just me. Because when I was watching this scene, I was like, girl, you acting like he getting on your nerves. But okay. So then she tells him he needs to focus on local people and keep it in the community, right? So then he gets an alert. She gets an alert on her phone. And he was like, who is that? She was like, yeah, you know, this magazine wants to do a feature on me. He was like, for what? Baby, that's what we're wondering. We're wondering that too, Papa. For what? Girl, what they doing a feature on? So he was like, well, congratulations. She said, dang, don't sound too excited. Honey, listen. Let me explain something to you, Maisha, even though this is fictional. Okay, men are a little bit competitive, honey. They don't like to see the woman shine brighter than they're shining. It ain't right, but it happens. Okay, I've dealt with it all too many times. So I'm just saying, honey, they get to pouting and thinking they being left behind, child. If you need you a Jay-Z if you gonna be Beyonce. because he lets Beyonce be who she is. She can shine standing next to him, okay? But if you got somebody that's trying to compete with you, then that ain't gonna work. So he starts saying, well, I could use the press as far as my podcast is concerned. See, people will legit be jealous of your successes. Sometimes you got to move in silence. I guess Maisha about to be a rapper, honey. We didn't know nothing about it. This is about to turn into Empire. I hope not. Honey, somebody called Taraji and them. Child, because we didn't know this was about to happen. Over on the other side, Kevin made it home with Nina and Dre after his fight, right? Of course, Nina was her hands-off self, okay? God forbids that she parents him. She always doing something other than parenting her kids. So Dre starts talking to Kevin about what happened at school, right? So she tells him how important his choices are, especially moving forward. He said, look, what if I just wanted to be a kid? Wow. That poor baby. His childhood really was taken from him. I mean, they don't even realize what he's going through. And Nina is so hands off, she wouldn't see it anyway, child, because she's too worried about herself. So she's like, well, unfortunately, you don't have that luxury. Child, let him be a kid as long as he can. Yes, make wise choices. But Kevin has had a rough few years. Watching somebody get killed, losing his dad, losing Brandon, Jake stealing his girl, his sister being kidnapped and raped. A grown man couldn't handle all that. Child, I'm getting exhausted just repeating it. Child, this is a mess. So then he asked her if they were going to ground him, right? She was like, yeah, we tried that. Okay, so what else y'all gonna do? Honey, what else is going on? Because that's usually what happens when you do something wrong. You get grounded. Girl, so she said, we tried that. He said, so if I want to go hang with Papa, I couldn't? She said, yeah, only because me and your mom need some alone time. Girl, what? See, that's the problem now. What was even the point of the talk, honey? Why did y'all sit down and have a talk, honey? He knows you're not about that life. You're not backing nothing up with your actions. But okay, child, I guess. I know I wouldn't be at no friend house after being suspended, but that was my mama, honey. I was afraid of them. So actually, I wouldn't be suspended. But if I did get in trouble to get suspended, I'm not going to no friend's house. I know for damn sure I'm not. Over at the hospital, we see Rosalind by Douda's side. And, she's sad, but we see he's still living because we see him breathing up and down and down and up. Okay. At Emmett's restaurant, Tiff and Dom are rolling up on Emmett like he a member of a rival gang or something. Baby, Tiffany be punking Emmett. Let me tell y'all something. She wears the pants in that marriage, honey. She is not playing with him. I was like, dang, Tiffany running up on poor Emmett, child. So her and Dom are having a meeting. So Tiffany tells Dom that they're about to get rich, and she had a dream that she was the Black DuckTales, honey. DuckTales, ooh. I know that's right. That used to be my show. Baby, I used to love me some DuckTales. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So then this Caucasian lady shows up, all perky and whatnot, and tells them that her team was thoroughly impressed with their presentation in Colorado. So I guess that's where they were last episode, because we didn't see either one of them. So I guess they were in Colorado. And they want to work with them, right? So she's like, yeah, we want you to join the Love at First Bite cannabis line. So Dom was like, what's the catch? So Tiffany said, why they gotta be a catch? Now, I would be Dom in this situation because I don't trust nothing too easy. There's always something to it. So you gotta be careful. It's always a catch. Although I do see why Tiffany would be excited about the opportunity, you still got to be careful, honey. You just can't be signing your name away to any and everybody. So Tiff was like, will we make more money? So the lady was like, yeah, of course. Honey, they'll tell y'all anything, child. Let me see the contract first. So she said, yeah, mergers happen all the time. So then Dom said, will we be talking merger money? Honey, I know that's real. I know that's right. So this is what I think. I feel like they see Black people and automatically think we will accept peanuts just to be attached to their brand. Honey, no thank you, child. We need to be compensated for our talents because 9 times out of 10, they take our talents and they monopolize off of them. Okay, honey, I'm dealing with it right now. So Tiffany didn't like that she didn't like that. So she pulled Dom to the side to talk so they didn't blow it, right? According to her. But then the lunch rush started, so they didn't get a chance to finish it. But she was just basically saying to her, like, why are you trying to blow this? And Dom was just like, look, I'm just trying to make sure we're getting paid what we're worth. And Tiffany was like, let's just take it. And Dom was like, no, we need to ask questions and make sure we're being compensated for what we need to be compensated for, honey. And I am in agreement. Outside the hospital, Ross says a few words to the press about Douda's shooting and then walks away like a boss, okay? At the store, we see Keisha and the new guy. I don't know his name, but they're talking about the baby, right? So he's asking her, like, what did you name him? And she's like, the new mom is going to name him. Of course, he didn't know, so he apologized. And he was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And she was like, no, it's cool. So then he asked her if he could take her to dinner. So she was like, let me think about it. He was like, well, you didn't say no. She was like, I ain't say yes either. Girl, okay, girl. Let me find out you about to get a love interest. So then she gave him her phone to put his number in, right? Now, I'm hoping he not on no creep stuff because she really don't need that in her life, okay? We already been through some things. Now, people are speculating that he might be attached to the guy who took her in that house and raped her, but for some reason, I just don't feel like the Chi would take us there. But you never know. Kevin over there venting to Papa about the situation, and Papa was like, if any one of y'all tried to mess with my lady, it would be on sight, and I'm a man of God. Papa, honey, let's not get confused, because Kevin and Maisha were a bit of a thing back then when she used to bully y'all. Did you forget, honey? Actually, he liked her first, but then, y'all got together and whatever. So, child, please. So Papa is telling them they need to talk it out. It ain't no talking, honey. It's no talking with some snake stuff. I'm not about to be sitting around having a conversation with you. If you feel like you can do that to me, then there's no need for us to discuss anything, honey. You've been about that life. You've been that kind of person. So there's no need for us to have a discussion. Let's just go our separate ways. You do you, and I'm going to do me. Now, that's just how I would handle it. But, Papa always trying to be the peacemaker. So then, Gemma and Jake show up to the intervention podcast that we didn't know nothing about. I'm like, Kevin ain't got no real friends. Child, don't ambush me with these people after what they done put me through, honey. We're not about to have no red table talk, child. You ain't Will, and Maisha ain't Jada. Child, we ain't about to sit around and have no conversation after the way they did him. So Gemma and this fro, honey, your fro looks beautiful, but you still on my list, honey. I ain't feeling you. And Papa wants to use their issues on his podcast, but Jake not feeling it. Maybe Papa gonna put any and everything on his podcast, ain't he? Gemma wasn't down at first, but then she decided to sit down and talk. Yes, because you owe Kevin that much. You can at least sit down and have a conversation. So Jake finally comes to sit down because I guess since Gemma sat down, he was like, okay, but Jake, you really owe him the most because y'all have been friends since y'all were kids. Oh, ashy mouth boy. So Emmett over at Jada house, okay, and she tells them that Sway said that he loved her, and Emmett decides to stay with his mom, and I love to see it. Moving forward. Back over at Papa's house, the clubhouse conversation is underway. So Papa asks, when did you and Jake's tumultuous love affair begin? Child. So they didn't answer, but then Gemma said, it wasn't cool, but we're very sorry. Are you? So then she said, Kevin, you can't keep self-medicating and taking it out on us. Girl, don't try to deflect, honey. We don't want to hear nothing about it, okay? It doesn't matter what he was going through. Yes, of course, he was having a tough time, but if you're his girlfriend and you're supposed to be down with him, honey, that doesn't mean you down with him and his homie. Girl, goodbye. So Kevin was like, don't put my business out there like that. Exactly. You do realize you're on a podcast. You should know, honey. That's how this affair started when you asked him on that little segment that you had at school. So you know how airtime works, right? So she said, people already know. Okay, girl. So Papa said, Kevin, your issues are bigger than them. So Jake feels like Kevin doesn't have his back, but we all know it's about the police thing because, ever since that happened, Jake has not really been feeling Kevin at all. So Gemma said, you never had my back. He's like, I can't spend every minute having your back. She said, if it's something that was important to you, I would have your back. I don't know. I don't know if you would have his back or not, child. I'm not sure. So she was like, he doesn't care about anything. He said, I cared about you. She was like, I still love you, Kevin. Is Jake still in the room or he gone? Because that's what I was thinking this whole time. I'm like, is Jake still around or not? Because y'all are having a full-on soap opera moment and he just sitting by the side. Honey, Kevin, child, Jake ain't about that life. So they're having conversations like grown people. And he said, well, why are you with him? Okay, because he laughed. He chuckled when she said she still loved him. And all of us was looking like, girl, please. So she said, I'm not the girl I was last year. I just need something different. So last year she wanted a good guy, and this year she wanted a roughneck. Gotta what, yo? Gotta get a roughneck. Gotta what, yo? Gotta get a rough. I need it in the morning, so I gotta get a roughneck, honey. Shout out to MC Light. So Papa said, well, what do you mean? Something different. So then Maisha pops up. And she's like, just because she started with you doesn't mean she's always meant to be with you. Maisha, let me find out you condoning this messiness. Girl, goodbye. So they start fussing back and forth. Then Gemma and her tweed suit get up and leave. Kevin gets up and leaves. And of course, Jake follows. Back at the hospital, Douda is coming to and tells Rosalind that it was Brandon's mom that shot him, right? So she said, did you kill him? He said, I had to. He started talking to the feds. Oh, okay. So finally Brandon's death is explained. Because I was wondering, all we saw is just a rosary and, his casket and a picture. And I'm like, are they going to explain to us how he died or what, child? So anyway, he gets mad and he's ready to go, okay, because he can't take too much more at that hospital. So then he hears a knock and she starts looking all around. She's like, oh, you looking for Tracy? I think so, sis, honey. I think he is. I really think he is. So then a guy brings in some paperwork for Mrs. Perry. She's like, you know what? Just call me Rosalind. I'm like, I know that's right, honey, because he ain't acting like your husband, so you might as well drop that last name. Douda, we haven't seen Tracy yet, okay? Had it not been for Rosalind, you would be dead, sir, honey, so calm down, okay? With Douda laid up in the hospital, she says, I'm sorry you got shot, but I got it from here. And baby, when you get out this hospital, everything is going to be different. Do y'all hear me? So Keisha is pumping. And then she decides to call her little friend for dinner. I still do not know this boy's name. Try y'all put down in the comment section if you know this man's name, because I sure don't. So she said, where you going to take me? He said, I'm going to cook. She was like, look, I'm nervous about going to a stranger's house. I would be as well, okay? So then he changes this to Smokey for her to feel safe. Child, is Smokey's the only restaurant in the city? Honey, okay. Because I'm just trying to figure out why. Is this the only place that everybody eats? Child, okay. So at the community center, Emmett is setting up some food. I guess he's handing out food at the community center for the people in the community, right? So then we go over and we're at Maisha's little, I guess, magazine sit down. We heard Maisha freestyle one time, and now she's doing a full-on magazine cover. Honey, I love to see it though, honey. Shine queen. But I mean, it's just giving very much gaps in the storyline. So then they sit down to this interview. Child, y'all please forgive me, honey. Who let Sydney Starr bad acting behind in the building? Child, this was a mess. She said, yeah, so a lot of your raps have gone viral. So why do you think that is? Girl, anyway, Maisha was like, I keep it a buck. I ain't afraid to tell the truth. So then she said, so what do you want to do next? I was like, oh my God, honey. Y'all call me, honey. I'll show up to the child since y'all just calling any and every old body. Lena, honey, if you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that is watching this review, I'll come on down to the Shy and do a little bit of something. Honey, y'all hiring everybody else? So then she was like, yeah, I just really want to graduate with honors. And I'm like, okay, that's a beautiful thing, okay? So then she said, well, where can people hear your music? So then Papa pipes up and says, Papa's pulpit. Not the church in the podcast. Child, I'm done. So Papa pipes up and tells where they can find her music. Papa, this is not your moment, honey. Let this girl shine on her own. Child, it be your own man. So Gemma and Jake are talking about Kevin, and Gemma really wants to apologize, but Kevin was like, man, forget Kevin. Jake was like, man, forget Kevin. I don't owe him no apology. Yes, you do. Okay? Yes, you do. I know you weren't raised right, honey, but you owe him an apology. So Kevin is telling Emmett that Jake stole his girl, right? And he got suspended. So suspended from school. Scared to come home. I was a fool with the big boys breaking all the rules. Shout out to Tupac. So, he was telling him all of that. So Emmett was like, dang, sometimes crappy stuff happens to teach us something. And there's always a lesson in the midst of the storm. Honey, good job, Emmett. Glad you could step up and actually be a voice of reason for Kevin, because he doesn't really have very many male figures. And when Brandon got gone, honey, he really was spiraling out of control. So I'm glad you were there for him. So Emmy was like, you wanted to go play? Because, they're serving his restaurant's food at the center, right? So Kevin gonna say, can we get some Harold's or something, honey? I know that's right, child. They are tired of Sonny's, honey. They tired of it. So Dre is now a counselor. I'm like, okay. And she's counseling this couple that Trig and Tracy went to help. Y'all remember when the community center first got popping as the community police or whatever, and Trig and Tracy went to this domestic dispute? That's this couple. So they're arguing a lot and it's tearing their family apart. So the daughter has had enough. So she storms out and bumps into Kevin. So I'm sure that's going to be his next boo, okay? Because the way he looked up at her, it was like he saw the most beautiful thing that he had ever seen in his life. Over at Trig's trap house, he walks in on Jake and Gemma, right? So Trig is giving him some real grown man advice, but he should have been telling him, you don't touch your your friend's woman. That is bro code. That's what you should be telling him. But go ahead, set yourself off, honey. So he tells Drake to treat Gemma like a lady. Honey, you're going to have to be a lady to be treated like one, but that's neither here nor there. And make sure you like her outside of the bed. Make sure you like hanging out with her, not just sleeping with her. And be careful with her heart. Aw, a thug with a heart. I love to see it. Papa and Maisha talking about, she's like, why did you take this moment to plug your podcast? Because they're sitting down eating, right? He was like, well, I wanted them to know where they could find you. She was like, on my Instagram. I'm like, I know that's real. Child, give her a minute to shine on her own. So Papa was like, well, you don't want to shine with me? She's like, yeah, we can shine together. But the bottom line is that was her moment. And it was not your moment to plug your podcast. It was not your moment to, to say whatever it is you needed to say about Papa. It was her time. And eventually it will be your time. But now is not the time for that. So Dre and Jada on the stoop over here, right? Child, why y'all outside? Get in, honey. That's how all this is going to unfold. Child, get inside the house. Dre is telling Jada that she needs to be strong. She's saying, look, it's getting exhausting trying to be strong. So then she starts crying on Dre's shoulder, right? So as she's crying, we see Nina lurking in the cut, calling her to see if she gonna answer. See, Nina don't got no follow through. Okay, just like her parenting, she don't have no follow through because that was your cue to get out and confront her. But instead, you drive off and get to cheating and whatnot. So Dre texted her that she was in a meeting. Dre, you and all that line, that's how this is unfolding. Over at Jake's house, Imani is taking it easy on Gemma for being a little huzzy, okay? And then, normally I would say yes for understanding that she's young and whatnot, but Gemma irks me because of how she did Kevin, so she gets no passes. So her dad shows up to get her, which was weird to me because he was just all in Kevin's face. Honey, I didn't know y'all was on the drop her off over here level, honey, but I guess so. Over at Sonny's, Keisha and old boy, honey, I'm still not sure of his name, they're talking about the food and how, she gets to eat there for free. Honey, as you should, okay? Your soulmate, Emmett, he owns it. And I don't care what nobody says. I like Keisha and Emmett together. I just like them together. So he tells her, I really just hate spending money on food. That's why I learned to cook. See, y'all know I wouldn't be able to do it, honey. You're not about to be cheap with me. It's food at home. Me to death, honey. I always telling me, it's food at the house. It's food at the house. Honey, that's a red flag to me, but I'm a little bit older. So then she said, I spent all my money on food, which us ladies love to do. So he said, I learned to cook just in case the NBA didn't work out, and it didn't. So she was like, before the baby came, my whole life was about running track. But then when I couldn't run anymore, everything just got dark. So you're responsible for all the darkness up and through the shy. Child, you the reason why every one of these scenes are dark. Child, I'm not gonna play with you, honey, but I got it. So he said, well, what got you through it? She said, you know what? I don't even think I've really gotten through it. And I thought that was a very mature answer because she has come to terms with the fact that she's not all the way over that. And I understand. So he tries to hold her hand a little bit, right? But she starts having an anxiety attack and starts thinking back to when she was trapped. Honey starts hyperventilating. He was very patient with her. He walked her through it. But, the jury is still out on him. But I'm liking him so far. Because she needs some kind of light in her life. Because I don't even see her with friends. So for right now, we going to take it. Tracy goes to visit Douda. And he's all like, I look a mess. My beard's all gray. Sir, you've been in there for a day, honey. 3 tops. Cut the dramatics, child. You'll be fine. So he was like, I didn't think you were going to come. She said, look, Roz said you were looking for me. here I go, honey. Shout out to Mystical. So basically, she wasn't gonna come, but Roz told her you were looking for us, and she act like you didn't want Roz around, and so she's there. So she gives him this paperwork, right? And she's like, the funding for the community project budget was denied by the mayor's office. Honey, Roz said, you ain't getting no money out of me. You got my husband. That's enough. Then she said, do you really believe in any of this, or you just want to smash? She gave him a millisecond to answer. Not even 1 second, y'all. As soon as he took a deep breath, she was like, that's what I thought. And she walked off. Okay, girl, go set yourself off, honey. You were a willing participant, honey. Even let Candy watch, so I don't feel bad for you. Moving forward, Tiff comes and apologized to Dom, and she says, I'm just used to doing everything alone. So Dom was like, look, I'm just trying to get us what we're worth. So then Iman, Tiana Taylor's husband, Iman Shumpert, he shows up, and he says, y'all the weed girls. Honey, these cameos tonight. They're like, why? Who asking? He was like, I'm Hannibal's cousin. He said, I'm looking to add edibles to my clients. So he basically is offering them a way to make bread and be black owned. Okay, we love it. At the bar, Nina is listening to some Anita Baker, honey, and getting more line texts from Dre. At the end of the bar, we see Chi-Town's finest, the brat tat 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 on that head. Okay, because she about to be all over Nina in a minute. Shout out to Brat. So she comes over to Nina and says, what you sipping on? She was like, Henny. Honey, black people love some Henny, don't they? So she was like, you alone? She was like, actually, I am. Well, is that how you want to be, though? So Nina said, why are you trying to keep me company? So then they leave, and she cheats on Dre. Baby, Brat, honey, did Judy approve this scene? And furthermore, Nina, you just gonna cheat like that without concrete evidence? See, I partly blame Dre, because you should have told her, okay? Then I really blame Nina, because you have cheated on your wife without any hard evidence of her cheating. Them on those steps didn't say affair. And child, it was easy to bag you, honey, so I'm thinking you wanted to step out. So Nina brings her cheating drunk behind home, and Dre was on the bed lying to her about working late. So Nina says, look, I need a shower. Yes, you do. So then Dre was like, you can't keep checking out, babe. It's a lot going on. I need you. She was like, you do. And this was my thing. I'm like, say what now? You have ignored every one of her calls and her texts, but it's a lot going on and you need her. Child, be quiet. So she was like, I saw you with Jada. So then Dre breaks down and tells her that Jada has cancer. Nina, you should feel like crap. And Dre, was that so hard? Honey, you should have been said that. Keisha is at a christening for her friend's baby, thinking about her own baby, and so her friend seems very happy, right? Letting her know, life is a bit boring, but she likes it that way. So then Papa runs up on Keisha and asks if she's okay. And then he gives her a little bit of encouragement. So she's like, are you okay? And you know what? Thank you for asking, because nobody ever asks Papa if he's okay. Everybody only cares about themselves. Nobody ever asks him anything. So he was like, is it normal to be jealous of Maisha? Jealousy is a normal emotion, but you should know that what God has for you is for you. So Keisha is with Octavia. And she finally gets to hold the baby, right? And that changed everything. Douda is finally getting out, and Trig and Imani come to get him for whatever reason. Rosalind cannot be bothered. Papa invites Maisha over and apologizes for being jealous, right? So he tells her that they can't work together anymore and it's not good for them. She was like, oh, okay. He's like, okay, is that it? She was like, yeah, I think we need to take some space. He was like, I don't want to take space. She said, well, I do. You should know that Maisha don't play. So I don't even know why you played those games with her. Kevin and Keisha, they share like a sweet little moment together, and it's good to finally see the two of them smiling, because it's always so much doom and gloom on this show. You never see them really smiling. So that was like a really good moment. So then over at Emmett's house, Emmett and Tiffany, they're sharing a little moment, and he thanks her for being there for him, right? Because he's scared about his mom. So then he said, I love you. She said, I love you too. And then he said, for better or for worse. She said, for open marriage or for close. Tiff be choosing violence. I swear she be choosing violence every chance she gets, okay? Because, baby, she ain't finna leave Dante out. If she don't do nothing else, honey, not open marriage or close, she gonna make sure she don't leave Dante out. So this time they seemed a little bit like a couple, because every time I see them, it's like they're just two ships passing. So I actually felt like in this moment watching them, this is the first time I felt like they were a couple. Kevin goes to school after his suspension, right? And they tell him that there's a zero tolerance policy at their school and he can no longer attend. Child, he was trying to state his case, but it wasn't working. One fight and he's out. And I wouldn't want my child there anyway. And furthermore, that principal is a sellout. Over in the very final scene, we see Keisha and she walks up to her self-absorbed mama, Nina, and tells her she wants her baby back. Child, I knew it. I told y'all she was going to want that baby back. I told y'all. I said as soon as she figures out what she wants to do, it's either going to be an open adoption or she is going to want that baby back. And I was right. Child, and that was the end of the episode. Y'all tell me what y'all thought about this episode. Did you like it? Were there some things that I missed? Comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share with a friend. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.